Hello dear students. So in the last lecture we had discussed the introduction to fax devices. Okay, and now we will discuss in the today's session we will discuss the some of the uh, fax devices in detail. Okay, so before that, before starting the discussion on any fax device in detail, let us discuss the reactive power compensation. Okay, and why it is required. Fine. So reactive power compensation or VAR compensation, that is volt ampere reactive compensation, is defined as the management of reactive power to improve the performance of AC system. Okay, so there are two aspects. First one is the load compensation and second one is the voltage support. Okay, so under this load compensation, the main objectives are, first of all, to increase the power factor of the system. We know that unity power factor is good for the healthy system. So if the power factor is lesser than unity, then our purpose will be to increase the power factor up to unity. Okay, to balance the real power drawn from the system. Okay, so real and reactive power balance is always required. Okay, so this comes under the load compensation. To compensate the voltage regulation, again this is very important factor. Okay, to compensate the voltage regulation and to eliminate the current harmonics. Okay, so harmonics is nothing new, we are well familiar with the harmonics. Okay, and presence of harmonics is not good, okay, because it has several ill effects on the system. So obviously we cannot uh, remove the harmonics completely, but obviously through certain measures we can eliminate it or reduce it or minimize it. Okay, so that is also a part of load compensation. Fine. Next is the voltage support. So what is voltage support? The main purpose is to decrease the voltage fluctuation at a given terminal of the transmission line. Okay, so our purpose is, by providing any sort of compensation, our purpose will be to decrease the voltage fluctuation at a given terminal of the transmission line. So this VAR compensation, that is volt ampere reactive compensation, reactive power compensation in other words we can say. So that is the VAR compensation improves the stability of the AC system by increasing the maximum active power that can be transmitted. Okay, see, we have the apparent power. Okay, the apparent power can be expressed as the vector sum of what? In a power triangle, we know that active part and reactive part. Okay, and we have that apparent power. Okay, so in order to increase or maximize the active power, that's a reactive power balance is very much required. Okay, so that's why this reactive power compensation is defined as the management of reactive power so as to improve the performance of AC system. Okay, and the performance of AC system has to be improved under these two aspects, that is load compensation and voltage support. Okay, so by providing this VAR compensation, certainly the stability of the AC system is increased. Okay, and we can do this by increasing the maximum active power that can be transmitted. Okay, so we'll have to ensure this. Now what is reactive power? I would like to discuss it in some detail. So power is referred as the product of voltage and current, that is power equals to V into I. It's not as simple as that. The portion of electricity that establishes and sustains the electric and magnetic fields of alternating current equipment. Okay, so we can, in other words, we can say this is the portion of electricity which establishes and sustains the electric and magnetic fields of alternating current equipment, because we have only two fields existing in electrical. Now the reactive power must be supplied to most types of magnetic equipment such as motors and transformers. Okay, so this is very well known to us that reactive power must be supplied to most type of magnetic equipments. Okay, where there is a magnetic circuit involvement such as in motors and transformers. Okay, so they are little bit consumed, we can say. So in an AC transmission system, when the voltage and current go up and down at the same time, only real power is transmitted, and when there is a time shift between voltage and current, then both active and reactive power are transmitted. Okay, so this statement is something connected to the unity power factor, we can say. Okay, so if there is a lag or lead, there is a lagging, we know that the power factor is unity, that means the system is healthy. Okay, if the power factor is little lower than that, then obviously there is some existence of the reactive power. Okay, so to transmit, in order to ensure the 100% transmission of real power, we will have to keep the power factor at unity. Okay, so in AC transmission, in an AC transmission, the voltage and current go up and down at the same time. Only real power is transmitted, and when there is a time shift between voltage and current, that means if the voltage and current are not in phase, okay, so then both active and reactive powers are transmitted. And from the very basic concept, we have seen that across the resistive load, okay, which works at unity power factor, obviously the voltages and currents both are in phase. But while we talk of the RL circuit or RC circuit or anything which is not purely resistive, then this condition, the time shift between voltage and current exists. Okay, and then comes the reactive power. So the reactive power comes into picture in such situations. Now, what is the need of reactive power? Cannot it happen that we don't need reactive power? So why it is required? So in resistive loads, the current produces the heat energy which produces the desired output, but in case of inductive loads, the current creates the magnetic field which further produces the desired one. Okay, so we can see that this difference, the effect of current in resistive as well as this inductive loads. So in resistive loads, what happens, that heat energy is produced by the current and which produces the desired output. But in case of inductive loads, like we talk of the motors and transformers, the current creates the magnetic field. Okay, because certainly with the effect of the current, a magnetic field is created, and due to that the desired output or desired work is carried out. Okay, so this reactive power is non-working power caused by magnetic current. To operate and sustain magnetism is the device. Okay, so this reactive power does not perform any real work, or it is not the useful power. It is just, it exists to operate and sustain magnetism in the device. So it is the non-working power caused by the magnetic current. Okay, so let me try to make it understand through an analogy, that in coffee, okay, we have the foam, okay, at the top of the coffee cup. You can say, you can see the foam, and the content of coffee resides in the below portion. Okay, so obviously that foam is not the active part of the coffee. Okay, but it is present at the top of the coffee. Okay, so that is some kind of analogy, you can say, that similarly the reactive power is not the useful power. Okay, useful power is the active power which is actually consumed in the circuit, which is actually utilized in the work, and this reactive power flows back and forth. Okay, just to operate and sustain magnetism in the device. Fine. So this reactive power is required to maintain the voltage to deliver active power through the transmission line. When there is not enough reactive power, the voltage sags down and it is not possible to deliver the required power to load through the lines. Okay. So in order to send the real power through the transmission line, this reactive power plays a very important role. Okay. So this reactive power is required to maintain the voltage to deliver the active power to the transmission line. So in order to send this active power, you need the reactive powers also, the reactive bars also. Okay. Volt ampere reactive. So when there is not enough reactive power, the voltage will what? Voltage will sag down, will go down, and it is not possible to deliver the required power to the load through the lines. So that's why the reactive power is essential. Now, why do we need the reactive power compensation? Okay, so why do we need this compensation? That we'll discuss. So this reactive power generated by the AC power source is stored in a capacitor or a reactor during a quarter of a cycle, and in the next quarter of the cycle it is sent back to the power source. So just now I had mentioned that this reactive power is the that power which which varies back and forth. Means in the first quarter it is stored, and in the next quarter it is sent back to the power source. Therefore, the reactive power oscillates between the AC source and the capacitor or reactor at a frequency equals to 2 times the rated value. Okay, so this is reactive power oscillates between the AC source and the capacitor reactor at a frequency equal to 2 times. Okay, multiple frequency you can say, that is 50 or 60 hertz, whatever. So to avoid the circulation between the load and source, it needs to be compensated. Okay, so in order to avoid this oscillation, we need to compensate it, and also to regulate the power factor of the system and maintain the voltage stability, we need to provide compensation of the reactive power. Okay, so in order to regulate the power factor regulation is also a very important aspect, okay, of compensation in order to maintain the voltage stability. Okay. So we need to provide compensation, reactive power compensation. Now, what are the methods of reactive power compensation? So the first method is shunt compensation, series compensation, synchronous condensers, static var compensators, and static compensators. Okay, so these are the common methods of reactive power compensation, and during the introduction of this compensation, in the first or second sessions, we have discussed the definitions of these compensation methods of compensation. So starting with the first one, the detailed discussion of static var compensators, SVCs. Okay, so static var compensator is an electrical device for providing reactive power on transmission networks. Okay, so it is an electrical device for providing reactive power on transmission networks. And the term static, what is the meaning of static? Static means that this static var compensator SVC has no moving parts, that is other than the circuit breakers and disconnects, which do not move under normal SVC operation. Okay, so since it does not have it is not having any moving part, that's why we say it as static var compensator. So the SVC is an automated impedance matching device, okay, and which is designed to bring the system closer to unity power factor. Okay, so this is the job of this SVC. It is an automated impedance matching device which is designed or developed to bring the system closer to the unity power factor. Okay, so if the power system's reactive load is capacitive, that is leading. In case of capacitive, we say it is leading. So if the power system's reactive load is capacitive, the SVC will use reactors. Okay, usually in the form of thyristor control reactors, TCRs, to consume the vars from the system, which lowers the system voltage. Okay, so if the power system reactive load is capacitive, then this SVC will use the reactors, okay, in the form of this thyristor control reactors, TCRs, to consume the vars, extra vars from the system, and by lowering the system voltage. Okay, and under the inductive conditions, okay, if the condition is inductive, that is lagging conditions, the capacitor banks are automatically switched in, thus providing a higher system voltage. Okay, so it can work both ways. Under the leading or capacitive condition, it will use the reactors to consume the vars, and during the inductive conditions, that is lagging conditions, the capacitor banks are automatically switched in and thus providing a higher system voltage. Okay, so this lowering and increasing of the system voltage as per the requirement is done by this SVC. Okay, and this is something called the providing compensation. So this is one is the static var compensator. Here it is a this bus is there. Okay, and obviously it's a shunt compensation, so the things are connected in shunt. This capacitor fixed and variable. So this we have both arrangement here. Fixed capacitor is there, okay, and variable is also there. So this is the schematic diagram of this static var compensator. So this SVC is capable of stepless adjustment of reactive power over an unlimited range without any time delay. Okay, so this is one of the advantage. You can say it improves the system stability and system power factor. And most commonly used SVC schemes are this thyristor control reactor (TCRs), thyristor switched capacitor (TSC), self reactor, thyristor control reactor, fixed capacitor, and thyristor switched capacitor, thyristor control reactor. TSC, TCR. So, what are the advantages of this static var compensators? Okay, so first advantage is that static var compensation is not done at line voltage, because line voltage is very high. Suppose for example a bank of transformer steps the transmission voltage, let's say for 230 kV, up to this level if the transmission voltage is there, then it is stepped down by the transformer, a bank of transformers, to a much lower level. Okay, let's say 9.5 kV. So up to this order it is stepped down, which reduces the size and the number of components. Okay, because for this, if we had to design our compensation system or SVCs for this much high voltage, that is line voltage, obviously the size and number of components will increase, and that will not be economical certainly. So it is stepped down to a lower level voltage and then this is applied. Next advantage is it increases the power transmission capability of the transmission line. See, providing any sort of compensation will increase the loadability limit of the line, and with the same sort of infrastructure we can deliver more power. Okay, so it is the advantage of any compensation system, and certainly this is the advantage associated with SVCs also, that is it increases the power transmission capability of the transmission lines. They are more reliable, they are faster in operation. Okay, power electronic devices are there, so they are faster in operation, and certainly at the same time it provides a smoother control, and more flexibility can be provided with the help of these thyristors. Okay, so the control is very smooth and more flexibility can be provided with the help of these thyristors. It improves the transient stability of the system. The most important thing is that it improves the transient stability of the system, and it controls the steady state and temporary over voltages. Okay, so These are the associated advantages of static var compensators. Now let's discuss this another device, and that is thyristor controlled series capacitors, that is TCSC. Okay, so what is this TCSC? So TCSC configurations comprise controlled reactors in parallel with sections of a capacitor bank. Okay, as you can see in the diagram, this combination allows smooth control of the fundamental frequency capacitive reactance over a wide range. Okay, so that's why this combination is adopted in TCSC. It consists of this controlled reactors in parallel with the sections of the capacitor bank. Here you can see this is controlled reactor, obviously antiparallel thyristors are there, and here it is another set of capacitor bank. The capacitor bank of each phase is mounted on a platform to enable full insulation to ground, and the thyristor valve contains a string of the series connected high power thyristors. Okay, the inductor is of air core design, and a metal oxide varistor MOV is connected across the capacitor to prevent the over voltage. Okay, so why this metal oxide varistor MOV is connected across the capacitor? In order to prevent the over voltage, this is connected. Okay, so this diagram is showing you the schematic of this thyristor controlled series capacitor. Coming to the advantage of TCSC, so what are the advantage of TCSC? So TCSC introduce a number of important benefits in the application of series compensation. Okay, so this one is this TCSC is providing the series compensation, that SBC was providing the shunt compensation, and this is a providing the series compensation. As you can see, its connection also, the configuration, from the configuration also it is clear that it is connected in series with the line. So the first advantage is the elimination of subsynchronous resonance risk. Okay, so this subsynchronous resonance risk is eliminated with the presence of this TCSC. Okay, second is the damping of active power oscillations. Okay, so this active power oscillations are damped due to the TCSC. And post contingency stability improvement. What is post contingency stability improvement? That, let's say something abnormal conditions happens. Okay, let's say if any fault is occurred at any part of the line, then due to the operation of the protection devices, the stability is affected. For a time being, this transient stability is affected. So this post contingency stability improvement is very much important in a transmission line, and the TCSC provides this post contingency stability improvement. Okay, so this is very important parameter. And next one is the dynamic power flow control, and that is also provided by this TCSC. So dynamic power flow control is also an added advantage of this TCSC. Okay, so due to these advantages, TCSC is considered appropriate to be used for this series, for providing series compensation in the transmission line.